I think it's really important that the average entrepreneur understands a couple other concepts around NACHA and the Bank Secrecy Act,
Sure.
because it's really critical that they do business with someone who is in fact compliant. So let's start with NACHA. Let's maybe start with just a definition. What does the acronym stand for, and what is it, and what's changing that everyone needs to understand?
Sure. So NACHA is an entity, and it helps to govern the ACH network. And ACH is Automated Clearinghouse. So and the N stands for national, and the A stands for association. So it'd be the National Automated Clearinghouse Association. And the ACH network has been around since the 1970s. And what the ACH network is used for is it's a batch filing system where files are uploaded and moved to different financial institutions so that money can be electronically transmitted. And NACHA is the group that puts out the operating rules and operating guidelines that then governs this payment clearinghouse. And it's what allows someone to transfer money without actually having to write a check or take physical currency to the intended destination. The why that matters to ACH network participants is that we have to follow the operating rules and guidelines. While every year the operating rules say that we have to have risk assessments and audits to show that we're complying with the rules, or what we need to do to remediate any issues so that we can become compliant. Now, NACHA is not an enforcement agency. The NACHA operating rules are actually enforced by the banks, because the banks are the ones who are on the hook at the end of the day for actually executing on those files. So the banks are the ones saying, let me see your risk assessment, let me see your audit to make sure that you're compliant with the rules. Now, of course, if a bank has a problem with that, then that could harm the banking relationship for the person who's interacting with the bank.
Chris, I just want I'm gonna kind of restate, make sure we're all on the same page. So if you violate Fair Labor Standards Act and you're not paying overtime, it's the Department of Labor who can come get you, state or federal. If you're discriminating employees or candidates based on race, gender, something else, it's the EEOC that can come get you. There's not a government agency that is holding folks accountable for ACH compliance. It is this organization, NACHA, which represents the banks. And so because our banking system is built on trust, and you send money from bank A over to bank B, they must clear the money to make sure it's all good. They have to rely on each other. They can't have us, a payroll company, a CPA, an accounting firm, an employer mucking up the system. So therefore you must be compliant, otherwise they won't work with you. And it's the banks that kick you off the system, not the Department of Labor, not EEOC, not the FBI.